Yep.
So, all right, let's go to the West. I'll let you lead us off again.
All right. So the West, going from 11 to 1 once more. 11, I'm going to say the Oklahoma City Thunder because
I'll
do it for you, Thunder fans, because Josh Giddey, he is a bona fide playmaker as long as they start him. I think that they're just going to miss the playoffs. They're going to be better than people think. And we've seen them do this. They tend to do this where they have a season where they're better than people think, just like the season in the bubble. But that's a CP3 effect or whatever. But he is a playmaker a lot like CP3. Young as hell, so he's going to need years in order to get better, to get to where he can be an all-star caliber player. But I think they're going to be better than most people think. But still not good enough to get into the playoffs, but barely missed. So that's 11. At 10, this might surprise you, the Blazers. Dame already has 1 foot out of the door, and there is absolutely nothing they did in the offseason that helped them to get better, which is what they were afraid of, which is what Dame was afraid of. Chauncey Billups, like Chauncey Billups a lot, rookie head coach, though. It's got a lot to learn. So I think they're going to be in the play-in at 10. 9 is going to be the Pelicans. I don't like that Zion is hurt, but he will be there eventually. They trade for Jonas Valanciunas, and you have Brandon Ingram, so that gives you one of the best front courts in the NBA once all three of those guys are on the court together. And Devontae Graham, who comes over from the Hornets, I believe, I think is a solid player as well. He just scary Terry Rozier kind of played him out of Charlotte.
Yeah.
It happens.
And then you got LaMelo Ball, so yeah.
Right, so I think he'll be solid. 8, we have the Grizzlies. Ja Morant will continue to evolve, but I think he needs much more help. 7, we have the Mavericks. Same question as the Blazers. How did you personnel-wise get better in the offseason? So, yeah, you still have MVP candidate Luka Doncic, but you have Jason Kidd, who can't call him a rookie head coach, but with a bit of a checkered coaching past, he gets his, third opportunity to see if he can produce a perennial winner. So there I've got questions with that, but they're at 7. At 6, you have the Nuggets. No Jay Murray. I just don't see them being able to be anything higher than the 6th seed without Jay Murray. I know Jokic is the MVP, the reigning MVP, but I don't think that that's going to be enough in order to win consistently enough as they typically have done when they have Jamal Murray. At 5, we have the Clippers. The only reason that they're not 3 or 4 is because no Kawhi. Who knows if we'll get him this season? We hope so. But that's the only reason why. But they're still going to be a solid team. I think they made great strides in the playoffs, and it did a lot for Paul George's confidence in himself to be the number one option, to be the leader of that team. So I'm going to put them at 5. At 4, we have the Lakers. They're going to struggle out of the gate, but what's going to save them is that they essentially have 3 coaches. You have Frank Vogel, LeBron James, and Rajon Rondo, so they're going to outthink a lot of opponents. They have to because of the age of this roster, so they'll come in at 4. At 3, we have the Warriors making their way back up. They're going to get Klay, not to start the season, but eventually after about maybe a month and a half, they're going to get him back. You have 2 rookies who can score. It's full steam ahead. This team is ready to go, so I've got them at 3. At 2, the Jazz, just because the Jazz love the regular season more than any team in the NBA. So they treat the regular season like it is the playoffs, and then they have nothing left to give in the playoffs. So they're going to come in at 2. And then at 1, you have the Suns. They're same as last season, that's playoffs. There really are no deficiencies with this team just on paper. Now, if you come up against a Bucks team or a Nets team, certain things get exposed, but they've got everything. You got leadership, you got threes, you have athletes, you have a big man, you have a walking basket in Devin Booker. So I think this season they're going to want to get that 1 seed because they were a 2 seed last year. Is that right? So they're going to want the 1 this year, so they're going to get it as long as CP3 stays healthy. And he's starting to change that narrative a little bit that he's always injured because he's changed the way he eats, prepares, etc. He still gets nicked up, but he doesn't get out for an extended period of time. So that is the number 1 seed in the West, Suns.
Not bad. So I'm not too far from you when it comes to a lot of those. So let me jump into that. Starting at the bottom, I didn't do 11. I do 10. Okay. Straight to the play-in. So the play-ins, Minnesota Timberwolves. They're going to shock everybody. I think they're going to be a surprisingly decent team.
I hope so.
I mean, the front office and everything, there's a lot of crap that's going on there, and it's throwing everybody off. But I think they're going to rally around Cat, and they're going to do enough to get themselves at least to the play-in, just so that he can ask for a trade right afterwards, because there's absolutely no reason for him to stay with that team. There's nothing about that team is appealing to even be around, besides his friend, D'Angelo Russell. But they added Patrick Beverley, and I think that he defensively will get everybody going. Anthony Edwards is fun to watch.
Love him.
So they should be able to make something happen playoff-wise, get to the play-in. 9, the Grizzlies. They just paid everybody on their roster. They're keeping everybody in-house. They're still young. They're just not as good as the Atlanta Hawks when it comes to having the youth movement. But they're going to do enough because the West, even though the East feels like there's a lot more talent going on that direction this year, in the last couple of years, I still think that the West is still the toughest. And I think that their grind is going to help them get back into the play-in. And, they've got to do more to get themselves up higher. They need to get to that 8 seed, which leads us to number 8, the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah, Dame's almost out the door. And like you said, what did they really add to get better? They lost Carmelo. And to me, that kind of hurts. He was really good as far as stepping up. He helped the team rally around somebody. That was the person they rallied around. And so because of that, even though I like Chauncey Billups, he has a checkered past too that people are questioning. I think there's going to be too many distractions to help them get past that seed. 7, Clippers. We don't know when Kawhi's coming back. Paul George can do enough to get them at least a 7 seed. I actually think he can get them up higher, but they are playing in the West, and the West is going to be a
heavyweight fight every night.
It's going to be a heavyweight fight every night, trying to get themselves up there. But PG is going to be a number 1. And since they won't get Kawhi this season, this is as best as they're going to get. Unless they make some trades, which means they got to trade somebody away big. 6, Dallas. I think the Mavericks, like you mentioned, they have not added anybody. I can't really think of anybody that's worth saying that they added.
Nobody.
So because of that, they'll hover around the 6 seed. Luka's going to do the Luka things, and they're going to try and get themselves matched up with probably Phoenix or somebody that they hope that they can try to push around and get a potential win out of. But I don't think it's going to work. Luka's going to get worn down by the time the end of the season hits, James Harden style, and they'll be done. 5, I think, is going to be the Warriors. Without Clay, I don't think that they go any higher than this. Otto Porter was a good ad because he statistically does shoot threes very well, and he shoots enough to where those numbers actually matter. They need Clay back. When they get Clay back, they got to get rid of Andrew Wiggins because he ain't helping. But we'll see what they look like long term.
I got vaccinated for nothing?
Exactly. Ship them out. Ship them out. 4, the Nuggets. Yes, I think the Jamal Murray piece is a key storyline for the year, but I think Michael Porter Jr. shows us why he's worth the money that he's getting paid now. Right. I think Jamal Murray has been stunting the growth of Michael Porter Jr., and it's only because Jamal Murray is good enough that they need to keep the ball in his hands, and Michael Porter Jr. does need to step back and be the third. I think that he's going to step up and be more, and then Aaron Gordon's going to be himself. He'll be a contributor like he always is. 3, I think it's going to be the Phoenix Suns. With you. The Suns need that number 1 seed. I don't think they get it.
Right.
Injuries are going to hit, and it's going to slow them down. And then all the stuff that's going around DeAndre Ayton not getting that extension is going to start a problem. There's going to be issues. There's going to be distractions around them not paying that man. And he's going to say something, and people are going to start seeing that that's a problem. Number 2, Lakers. The Lakers need home court advantage. They desperately need it. And they're going to have to figure out a way to get there. Even with the age, as much as you want them to rest, LeBron's going to play 82 games. Russ is going to play 82 games. Melo's going to play 72 games at least, if not more. They need – Anthony Davis is going to find a way to play 82 games. They need the number 1 seed. They won't get it because it's going to go to the Utah Jazz. They actually care about it. That's their thing. That's their bag. They're going to get that number 1 seed in the playoffs and the best defensive team out there. And then as soon as they get to the playoffs, they're going to get schemed out to where they can't even play Rudy Gobert. Right. Like they do every year. So that is my – is that